Hi guys. So I want to talk about my sandbox where I will be letting the potential students that are going to be taking my course come and build. Um, at first, my original idea, I had uploaded some textures of actual sand that I wanted it to make it look like a child's sandbox, uh, which I thought was a good idea. But then when I started uploading the textures, the lightness and the brightness of the sand on the floor really distracted me. So I couldn't think about building. All I can think about was like the beach, and I don't know. I didn't think it worked. So then I started looking through textures, and I found some gravel, and I'm like, oh well. If they're building and making things, that kind of reminds me of construction, and well, gravel reminds me of construction. So then that made me think of making it sort of like an urban space, more like a city space. And then I started thinking about, well, if they're in this area where there's gravel, there should be graffiti. And I downloaded some really cool graffiti that I liked, and I put that on the wall. So let me show you around. Oh, so first of all, I figured I wanted to make one of these signs that you see from far away, like if when you're driving in the expressway and you're trying to get somewhere, and you drive around and you see these big signs that turn and turn. Well, this one's really tall. Maybe I shouldn't make it, because I was trying to figure out a way to let people know that the sandbox is there, and there's like a sign that says "Let's create," and it just turns around and kind of looks like those big tall signs from like Denny's or Holiday Inn or whatever, on the side of the road. It's like you can't miss them because they're like huge, and they're either lit up or none of them are turning. But I thought I could use some code here and incorporate it here somehow. So I wanted to make it. And I did export my island, and all of the elements that I built did transfer over, no problem. So just all the original elements from the island, like trees and rocks and boulders, they didn't transfer at all, which is good because I hadn't really used that much. So everything else that I built just transferred right over, and I did change the size of my island. So now I have a 4-region one, and so I moved my stadium over there. And I kept my Jeopardy, and I've been working on some new scripts and just developing some more stuff. So I've been busy, and I'm glad that I have my 4 regions, because now I have that open area and that openness and that feeling of space, which I really liked about Taylor's island. And I thought it was just the island that she got, but it was actually that I was missing my region. So let me take you here to the sandbox. Oops. Okay. Okay, well, I kind of landed in the same space. So as you can see here, the walls, and I wanted to incorporate some green, just because I feel like in the city, there was a lot of concrete and space, but they try to incorporate some green, and it just makes things look pretty, and I feel like it gives some positive vibes to students to see some green, and I like it. Kind of goes with the rest of my island, so I just picked these really neat graffitis, and I think it's also it could be inspirational. It can give them some ideas, or maybe ideas for colors, or ideas for imagery, or it's just really amazing to look at these works of art. They have been done with spray paints, and I can never paint like that with spray paints. Generally, like I've I've done a couple murals before, and I've done it with acrylic paint, and I couldn't do it nearly as fast as these guys do it with the spray paints. I mean, they're just amazing. It's one of my favorite ones, like the cat from Alice in Wonderland. And then some other surreal stuff. I mean, I really like surreal imagery, with a lot of different messages. I mean, there's so many things you can gather from these images, and I don't know, they give me a lot of inspiration. So I thought that would be a good murals to put here in the creative box. And it's like a whale. It's got a whale and some other animals, and they're like in this purple cloud, and there's a lot going on. I like it. So these are phantoms, so you can just walk right through them. And I wanted to give them a lot of space because this course is going to be about creating their own ideas. I might make a second box for them to create things because I just want them to be able to not hold back based on space. So this is the texture that I chose, the gravel, and I really like it. I really can concentrate. It doesn't distract me at all. It gives me a sense that, things should be built here. Anyway, and then I went for, this, like dark gray color for the wall. Because I thought it was also, pretty neutral and wouldn't distract them from creating. So that's what I have for my box. I also did play around with the gestures, but I've been busy with the coding and just trying to gather ideas for the course. And I think there's a couple of teachers that are setting up a course for math. I think it's like 4th grade math, and I've been putting together math games, and then I have to make them work with my cards, like the tic-tac-toe ones. I got one code. Which actually makes an entire tic-tac-toe. Is it back here? Oh yeah, it's right there. I thought it hadn't transferred through, but it did. So I haven't been really worried about aesthetics for my island. I've been really worried about trying to make, my ideas and just concepts and the code mostly, because that's mainly what the course will be about. Oh, so then this is new. So right here, okay, so I don't know what happened there. I had some weird error, and thankfully it went away. Let's see, the one thing I've come up with is this code for a timer, because I'm thinking if they're playing a game, they want to have a timer to know, how long each person has, so that they don't have 30 minutes to think of an answer. So this guy actually, when you click on it, it'll ask you the amount of seconds you want the timer to be. So I'm going to just set it up at 10 seconds. So if you see the little yellow bar, it turns into red, and then it gives you the amount of seconds. And then it lets you know that the countdown it's over. So that's pretty neat. I like this one a lot. And then this board, it'll just automatically turn into, into the answer. So then the next person will click wherever they want, and so on and so forth, as opposed to trying to having to answer, having to not answer, but having to click and then choose. either X or O. So that's just more, I think that's just easier for the people playing. But I still will use these in the course, I think. Just because you might not want to play tic-tac-toe, you might actually want help someone give an answer for something. And then once it even tells you, like, if you have 3 of them in a row, that you've won. And then when you click it again, it'll go back, it'll reset itself. So that's one really, really, really long piece of code, which was, I think, are really cool to find. Okay, so that's it for this week. Thanks.